Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work so you love God and others more. Dr. Joey interviews Christian business professionals just like you to discover their secrets for working faith positive in a negative world. Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett.
Hey, Faith Positive Nation. Dr. Joey Fawcett here with another great episode of Faith Positive Radio. You know, there's so much negative news out there today. It seems like we're just drowning in negativity. And it's always been that way, but particularly in 2020, I think most of us are looking for an exit ramp or to get a rebate on 2020, right? Because the news has been anything but helpful or positive, and so we're just drowning in negative news. Today, this episode of Faith Positive Radio is your encouragement episode. For the next 30 minutes, you are going to feel good about human beings again, that we can be nice to each other, we can reach out to each other, we can act in Christian goodness to each other. So even if you have a friend who's not a Christian yet, share this episode with them, because their belief in the goodness of humanity is going to be restored as we listen to this story today about the most amazing harvest. And themostamazingharvest.com is where you can go and get a signed copy of a book that will come out very, very shortly. But go ahead and order yours now because there's a limited supply, right? And today we are interviewing the two authors. That's right, two authors in one. And if you're listening to this, be sure to go to our YouTube channel at Faith Positive and catch the video of this interview, because this is a historic moment. In over 5 years of Faith Positive Radio, I have never interviewed twin sisters. Today is it. Coming to you from Illinois, we have Pam Bates and Paula Patty. Okay, so in case they're watching the YouTube channel, raise your hands. Pam Bates. There's Pam. Okay, right. Thanks, Pam. And Paula Patty. Wonderful. Ladies, thank you so much for being on Faith Positive Radio. I am humbled to have you here. Thanks so much.
We're excited to be here. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Now, The Most Amazing Harvest is a story about a farmer named Carl, who happened to be Pam's husband. Mm-hmm. Pam, what made this harvest so amazing?
Well, so my husband was diagnosed with terminal cancer, it was metastatic cancer on the end of July 31st. And he had chosen not to do any treatment. He kind of, he had childhood cancer, so he'd been through treatment and just decided it wasn't worth he wanted to live the rest of his life better. And so he farmed with his cousin, and as he was, starting to fail a little, his cousin thought there's no way he can get his crops, this is fall, this is harvest season, he's not going to be able to do this. So he mentioned to one of his, farmer friends, and from there it just kind of blew up. And there were, I think 40 some farmers and 10 combines and 12 tractors and then all the semis, and everybody was donating their time and their fuel and all of that, and so the day there were people made meals and drinks, and it was just a beautiful picture of humanity when everybody came together to make sure that his fields were done, and it was within 10 hours. So the Rembold and Kuhn, who is the nearby grain elevator, said it was Carl Bates' day, and they weren't taking anybody else's loads except for his for those 10 hours. So that, on top of everything else, it was just a beautiful blessing. And Carl wasn't having a great day that day, but we went out in the morning and he went home for a while. And then when it was dinner time, I said, "You don't have to go out there." And he's like, "Yes, I do." And so we took him out when they stopped for dinner, and everybody came and kind of, said their thank you, or he was telling him thank you, and everybody got to talk to him. And so it was just a beautiful day. And so that was wonderful. That was a story.
Wow, that's great. So this was corn that we were harvesting?
Corn, yes.
Yeah. How many acres of corn were harvested that
It's
day in 10 hours?
450 acres and 10.
450 acres in 10 hours. So does that set some kind of record for Illinois grain harvesting? I mean, it's got to. Let's call
Like
Ripley.
the Guinness or something.
Yeah. Hey, Paula, we need to get on the phone with Ripley's, right? And,
Right,
and,
exactly.
and find that out. That's got 450 acres of corn. Now, what was the yield per acre? I mean, was it, or am I
Oh,
asking?
heavens, don't ask me that. I think it was a good year, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I should call the grain elevator now, so, right? So 450 acres harvested by friends in only 10 hours. Paula, what do you remember about that day?
Well, just blown away by the camaraderie. Everybody was just so willing and able to do, nobody was complaining or, so it was just a blessed day. And, us getting the food, we were getting the food together. And I remember Pam's granddaughter was so excited. She was going around when we were having dinner. We had spaghetti and salad and stuff. And so we're all sitting on combines and in the field, wherever, to have our dinner on the hay rack. And she was just so excited going around taking pictures of everybody. And it was just such a cool day.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So, Pam, there had to be this moment as Carl's health declined and the two of you knew what the end result would be. And you knew it was harvest time, and here's 450 acres of your livelihood, right? There had to be this moment, or maybe I should be more confessional and say there would have been this moment for me and my wife, where we would just look at each other and say, how is this going to happen? Was there a moment like that for you?
I think Dan had it in motion before I even had that thought. Like,
okay.
I don't know that I even
now who's Dan?
About that at that.
Yeah, who's Dan?
Dan was his cousin that he farmed with.
Okay.
So,
all right. So Dan saw the need.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's the one that kind of put the whole thing in motion. And so I don't even know if we'd even talked about it until it was already happening. And they had picked a date, and hopefully the weather was and the weather was perfect. It was as God would do,
Sure. So the good Lord knew your need.
Yes.
And moved through Dan to meet your need before you even had a moment of despair.
Right? Yeah.
Wow, man. It just reminds me of scripture about the Lord knowing the desires of our hearts, right?
Right.
And just moved. So what kind of guy is Dan? Is he a faithful guy as well?
I think I think he's a faithful guy. And I think him and Carl were like brothers, really. Like they would every morning, Carl would go out there and they'd plan their day. And it was kind of funny. And even when Carl was, getting sicker and, he would like go out there and it's like, he can't do a whole lot.
He wasn't doing anything, but he was helping plan.
He was playing what Dan could do, I guess.
No, Carl could go out and tell Dan what to do. Here's what you need to do today. And that was Carl's contribution for the day. Right?
They were great together.
Oh, wow. Now, did you say there were 10 combines out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, for those of us in Faith Positive Nation who we don't know squat about harvesting corn, right? Illinois style, right? How many rows of corn can one of those combines take down at a time?
Well, there's different sizes. I want to say it was 8 or 10. Like I'm not the farmer, not the farmer wife who knows all of those things. But I think it was like 10 or 12 maybe per combine. So
wow. And okay, now if you go to their website at themostamazingharvest.com, there's this picture that is so cool that's showing these combines going down the road and they're kind of staggered and things like that. So go to the website, themostamazingharvest.com. And by the way, that's the picture hanging behind them. Again, go to our YouTube channel if you're just listening to this on one of the podcast channels, but it's showing, if you look real closely.
One of the farmers had
Like a drone or something?
A drone that took that
Yeah.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks
So
like.
they had to get all lined up and then hold that pose and then have the drone take a picture.
Right. So what happens is, again, for those of us who don't know about this, the combines take down stalks, pull the corn ears off the stalks, and then it runs up a really large chute and into, you mentioned the tractors that were there, into a wagon.
Would be going along with the combine with their wagons, and then the combine is putting the corn into the wagons too. So
Right. And
then
then
wagons into semis that take it to the grain elevator.
right. So those wagons had to be transferred to these semis, the tractor trailers that have the 53-foot trailers. And so they carry all that corn. You see what it takes, Faith Positive Nation, to get your food on the table? Right. It takes a lot of work. So if there were 10 combines, how many farmers were there? At least 10?
I think there were about 40 farmers.
40 farmers.
40 farmers. Wow. Because
a big picture of everybody at the beginning of the day.
That's on the website too.
Yeah, that's on the website.
okay, so go to themostamazingharvest.com and you can see 40 farmers, because somebody had to drive the tractor, right? It was pulling the wagon. And then somebody had to transfer the wagons to the track trailers, and somebody had to drive the semis to the grain elevator.
Yeah.
And then there it had to be offloaded, right, to the grain elevator. It took a village, but you got it done in 10 hours.
Yeah.
So Pam, take us to the beginning of that day. You know, all these preparations have been made and all those plans have been made. You're a Christ-focused woman. Still, there had to be some butterflies in your stomach.
Oh yeah. It was, yeah. I mean, it was surreal. The whole thing was like, this is happening. What is, this is so amazing. And that's really the only word we could ever come up with that was, like.
So that's the mostamazingharvest.com, right?
Most amazing harvest. So, it's just blessed, and Carl was such a humble guy, like he would have been the first in line to do this for somebody else, but I know it was hard for him to let them do it for him, but just humbled and blessed are the words that describe it. It was amazing. It
was just surreal. Hard to believe all that was happening.
Yeah.
But then again, Carl's the kind of guy you want it to happen for, right? Because if he's the first one to go help somebody else, isn't it beautiful the way that came back? Because, excuse the pun, but you do reap what you sow.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so that day, Carl was able to reap what he had sown all those years. Wow. Paula, what was that day like for you?
Just like she said, surreal and busy, making sure we had everything, food wise. I mean, we weren't out in the fields, but we were making sure that they had snacks, and somebody had donated coolers. So we were, filling their coolers to take in the tractors, and just being amazed by the whole thing, because it was just God working in every aspect of it,
Yeah, you were witnessing a miracle.
Yeah, we'd see cars come by, as this was happening. Cars would be coming down because it's on a main highway, and they'd slow down, and then we saw on Facebook afterwards where they're, it put them in tears when we drove by, and so it was just it was a uplifting, inspiring story that touched a lot of lives outside of just, our community. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
And in fact, the picture and the story went viral on social media. People had talked about it, and then people from other countries and people from all over the United States were saying, "Hey, I was from there. I know those people," or and so it was really kind of cool. And here's Carl, who our whole life, every time we tried to take a picture of Carl, he'd go like, here he is going viral on Facebook and, social media. And he's like, you're just like,
Yeah, don't tell me anymore. Such a humble guy. And yet God used this story to give testimony and to impact other people's lives, to remind them that, hey, there is some goodness in the world, that we can care for one another. right.
Yeah.
So here we are, the story's going viral, Pam, and then God starts speaking to you about this story. What did God say to you about your story?
Well, so at the time when it went viral, and Carl was getting sicker, and it was really kind of a distraction, right? A blessing, a distraction from all that was happening when you could see, oh my gosh, now this TV station has taken the story, and so that was all kind of and knowing that all of those people around the world were praying for him, and we're getting notices, we're praying for your family. I thought that's what held us up. It was really it was so inspiring to to have that many people care and be willing to pray for people they don't even know. We got letters from people. One girl we didn't know at all, and she saw the story and sent some money, get some gas or food or whatever. She just felt tugged on her heart that she needed to do something. And then there was another letter from a girl that Carl had gone to 4-H camp back, when he was 10 or 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so she sends this letter because she saw it. She lives in Florida now. She saw it on the news, sent it, found our address and sent it to us, and I am just bawling reading this letter. Like, it was so sweet. And she remembered Carl and what a positive attitude he had back in 4-H and whatever, and so
wow.
I look at him and I go, is this not going to make you cry? Because honestly, he was just a rock through the whole thing. And he goes, almost.
It's like getting blood out of a turnip, huh? Yeah, wow.
Anyway.
So the story going viral gave people an opportunity to pray for you, people that didn't even know you. So what was it like to know that kind of supernatural strength was coming to you and Carl as his health continued to decline?
You have to believe that, God is with you. He's standing at your side regardless of what you're having to go through, and, he'll be there. And he was showing that through all of these people that were caring and sending their prayers. So,
so this experience touched a lot more than 40 farmers then, didn't it?
It did.
For sure.
Yeah. So Paula, you heard from people all over the world who were praying.
There's some neighbors of Pam and Carl that had a foreign exchange student. And so her parents in Holland had seen it, and we'd had relatives in Sweden that had seen it, and so all over. And they'd say, oh, my daughter's living there now, or I have family there. So it was just really cool that, and we did completely feel the prayer, and just because you could get through your day, and there was obstacles and there were things that you had to deal with, but it was just and we've had other situations too where you just feel held up, like you have hope and you have trust, and you can get through it because you've got God right there with you.
Yeah, carrying you through it. So I guess the days subsequent to that were some of your hardest days then, Pam, as Carl's health continued to decline.
Yeah. But he was such a rock, and so like his peace about the whole thing, gave me peace, because he was, he had made the decision, and we said in the book, I think, he didn't surrender to cancer, he surrendered to Jesus. And, he didn't want the last 3 months of his life to be, treatments and running to doctors and that kind of thing. And so it was a good 3 months, and we had a lot of great conversations that, you don't want to have, but hard conversations that we were willing to talk about, and, what the future looked like, and So yeah, it was hard, but it was a beautiful time too. Like that we had that time. I'm so blessed that, because I know some people it's sudden and they don't have that. So
Yeah, or it's protracted and there's the run into doctors and it's just misery.
Right.
But what a gift Carl gave to you by surrendering to Jesus instead of cancer.
And something he said too was, when we got the diagnosis and people were praying for him and saying, we're going to pray for a miracle. And he goes, I said, do you want a miracle? And he goes, no, I've had my miracles. And in the story, you'll see he's had multiple miracles in his life. And he goes, I can't be greedy. I'm like,
oh, what a legacy.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, sure you can, honey. Be greedy. I want you here longer.
Be greedy.
Wow. Okay, so Carl surrenders to Jesus. This story has sustained you. People are praying all over the world. And then the Father says something to you about what to do with this story.
So after he passed, for the first year after he passed, I kept hearing, tell his story. And, I kept thinking, you don't mean me, because I'm not a writer and I don't know how to do that.
Right.
And he just wasn't going to give up. And so finally, I thought, well, Paula's had some experience with some writing. She used to work for the Galvin News and used to write a column there. So I said, okay, you want to take a shot at this?
She was so inspiring when she came to you, wasn't she, Paula? Like, here's a story. Let's write this story. Yeah. It's like, you don't want to write a book with me, do you?
God keeps telling me, do you think we could do this? Yeah. I'd always wanted to write a book and never had a story that I was passionate enough about to try it or, to go for it. So when she came to me, I just felt like it was God saying, here you go. Here's the story I want you to tell. Wow. So that was beautiful.
Oh, wow. So
and we had a wonderful time.
The journey
was amazing awesome too.
What was that like? Because you're twin sisters, so I mean, you'd think you'd have one mind about this, but I bet there were some times when come on, tell me your.
I got to tell you one. So she writes part of it. We were trying to decide. She was trying to decide who was telling the story because it goes back to his childhood and that I didn't know anything about, and so she thought, well, it was a God thing that God said, tell it in, from his guardian angel's perspective. Yeah. So she named Carl's guardian angel Augustine, and you call him Gus. And so the story is being narrated by Gus. And so in the story, she decides that she's going to talk about my guardian angel. And so she names him Jasper.
Names him what?
We're on one of our little book writing trips because we would take trips all over the place, and that's got us away so we could, focus on the project. And so I'm reading it. I'm reading what she had written, as prior to that. And I get to the point that says, and Pam's guardian angel, Jasper. I said, I don't know what his name is, but it's not Jasper.
Sister, where'd you get Jasper, right?
I just knew that wasn't it.
That's right. I can't tell you what my favorite is, but it's not that one, right? So what
so I said, well, then you need to figure out what it is and tell me.
There you go.
The next day, we go to church, and the mass was being said for a man named Sam. And as soon as I heard it, I thought, oh, maybe Sam is my guardian angel's name. So didn't tell her anything about it, but I said a little prayer to God and said, okay, God, if Sam is my guardian angel's name, I want to hear that name again, and then I'll know for sure. So we're driving along, and we can't remember what we were talking about. And I said, I don't like that. And she goes, you don't like that, Sam, I am? And she says, Yeah, and I don't even know why, because I'm not a big Dr. Seuss fan. I said, well, I do. That's my guardian angel's name.
That's amazing. So the good Lord used a Dr. Seuss book.
Right.
I love it. God has this
As it
cosmic.
came out of my mouth, I thought that was a weird thing for me to say.
Yeah.
But you knew why I was saying it.
God has a cosmic sized sense of humor, doesn't he?
He does.
We just found that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, Pam, here's your sign, right? Sam,
Sometimes I need that snack.
Yeah, that's right. So, Paula, where'd you get Gus from for Carl's?
That just came to me. I was sitting
Okay.
at my computer and
Okay.
you know, and I kept thinking, you know, it could be from Carl, or I didn't know how to tell the story.
Mhm.
And I had to figure that out quickly because we were, you know, getting the stories from his sisters and mom and whatever from when he was a little kid.
Mhm.
And I thought, you know, until I know who's speaking or who's telling the story, I have to know that. Well, it was
Sure.
just like a light bulb, Holy Spirit moment. And it was like,
Yeah.
tell it from, you know, his guardian angel, and his name is Gus. And I thought, okay, we'll do that.
That is so awesome. I love it. And that's a part of that inspiration process that
Yeah.
writers go through, right?
Yeah.
And so you had the story, you had the writing skills, and the good Lord brought you together for his glory. Of course, all this started from conception because you're twin sisters, right? So you were uniquely fitted together to tell this very
Right.
story. It's
Complement
amazing.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you're still friends after writing a book together,
We
right?
are.
TheMostAmazingHarvest.com is the website. Tell us what we'll discover when we go there. We can order the book, right? Pre-order the book. We can get a signed copy, right?
Right. On the
Okay.
website. Yeah.
All right. And then the
There's
picture
a
that's
little
hanging on the
story
wall
about
there, right?
What's that?
The picture that's hanging on the wall
Yep.
there behind you, that's on there so you can
Pictures
see
from
that.
the harvest. There's a lot of pictures from the harvest. Our family pictures are on there. Just
Okay.
kind of a little information about us and our journey in writing it. So
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. TheMostAmazingHarvest.com is the web address. If you are one of those diehard Barnes & Noble or Amazon fans, you can pre-order the book there as well, right? And in fact, when you go to the MostAmazingHarvest.com, you can find a button to click on to go right to Barnes & Noble
Those,
and
yeah.
Amazon and things like that and buy the book there. All right. There's this great quote, Faith Positive Nation, when you go to TheMostAmazingHarvest.com, there's this great quote there that I just want to share with you. A farmer can ask for no better crop than a bountiful harvest of friends. That one stuck with me. That's Velcro. So thanks for sharing that. That will be my heart quote for this week. Thank you so much for sharing that. We have Pam Bates, right? And we have Paula Patty, both of whom are co-authors of this great book, The Most Amazing Harvest. Go there and get your copy, TheMostAmazingHarvest.com. What's a favorite Bible verse or passage that sort of bubbled up out of this whole process for the two of you? Pam, you can tell us yours, or Paula can tell us hers first.
well, so we just really kind of came up with this Proverbs 16:3.
Uh-huh.
Entrust your works to the Lord and your plans will succeed.
Oh, wow. Say it again.
Entrust your works to the Lord and your plans will succeed.
Wow.
And
Carl?
and when we started this project, day one, we said, you know what, we're going to do our best, and if we touch one heart for Christ, then we've accomplished everything that we set out to do.
Well,
And you know, based on reviews and notes from people who have read it so far, you know, we've touched a lot of hearts, and so we feel like, you know, we did our part, and God's doing his part.
Well, you have certainly touched my heart today. It is my pleasure to, it's my pleasure to have interviewed you for Faith Positive Radio today. Thanks. Faith Positive Nation, go right now. I don't care if you're walking the dog or what you're doing. TheMostAmazingHarvest.com. Go there and get your coffee. Order your coffee right now. Ladies, you have blessed me so very much. Pam, Paula, thank you for the gift of your time, sharing your story. Again, if you're listening to this, go on our YouTube channel at Faith Positive, watch this, because first time ever twin sisters, but their smiles, you're going to love seeing their smiles. They just light it up. They are alive with the joy of the Holy Spirit. So thanks for the gift of this, Pam and Paula. We appreciate that. And just pray God's blessings on you as you continue to share this amazing story of God's love. Thank you so much.
Well,
Thank you very much.
It's been a blessing.
Thanks for listening to Faith Positive Radio, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work so you love God and others more. Suggest guests and ask questions when you email Dr. Joey at info@getpositive.today. And be sure to get your free gift of the 5 positive business conversations to have today coaching program at getpositive.today. Until next time, may God bless you with everything your heart can hope for and more than your mind can imagine.